Hello, friend, and welcome to another episode of the Concussion Nerds podcast. And today we are going to be digging into that scary story of the first time I invested a lot of dollars into my continuing education in this concussion space. But I don't regret it for a second, and I'm going to share why. I'm also going to head into what the heck is the Concussion Nerds Program and what does it mean to be a concussion nerd. I hope you enjoy today's episode. Okay. So it is Monday. It is February. I do know we just wrapped up two of our master classes for the Concussion Revolution, and it was amazing getting to connect with the clinicians on these calls. If you are a clinician listening to this and you didn't catch the replay yet, it is in your inbox. If you're listening to this and you have no idea what I'm talking about, we just led an amazing master class called the Concussion Revolution to help you become more fluent in concussion rehabilitation. And if you missed that and you want to catch the replay, just send me a message on Instagram at natasha.wilch and I will forward that to you so you can catch it as well. Now, I remember that time, and maybe you're a little bit like me and you're a clinician who, you're either new to the concussion space or you're loving treating concussion. But I remember being in this spot where it's like we were doing really great. The clinic was actually becoming known as the place to go for concussion in our area, and our clients were improving, but I, like, had this feeling that I was missing something, like, people couldn't answer the questions that I was asking, and it bothered me, and I didn't have the answers to the questions that I was asking when I was trying to get really specific about treatment of, like, well, which direction should I go? How does the speed matter? Like, what can I change to get more accurate on certain things? And no one could answer these questions, and I was getting super frustrated because I felt like if I understood these concepts at a deeper level, that I would be able to be more specific for my clients and then my clients would have better outcomes, right? And then there was also the days where we saw acute and persistent clients in my clinic. Like many of you, if you're a clinician listening to this podcast and treating concussion, we know that up to like 40% of individuals move into a persistent concussion stage. They need to connect with a knowledgeable provider who provides integrative rehab, right? So I was at this point too where I was getting some of my persistent clients and I would go through an assessment and I would just feel a little bit overwhelmed on like, and I'd sit back and be like, where do I start? Right? Like, where do I begin? And that's never a good feeling because then sometimes you're like, okay, well, let's try a bunch of things and let's just see what sticks, right? I call it throwing spaghetti at the wall. And that never feels good because then you also aren't super clear on like why you did what you did and what worked and what didn't work. And it's a crappy feeling for everybody. At least for me, it was. And so I started scouring to try to find something to help me deepen my knowledge. And truthfully, it was really hard to find something because I wasn't looking for the next like 3-day concussion course, right? Like those 3-day courses are great. Like they really are. They're a good foundational place, but like I needed more than that. I wanted more than that. And I ended up finding the program that I went into. And guys, it was terrifying because I ended up investing over $20,000 to complete this program. It was like I did another master's degree. And I've since done some, like, if we're going master's degrees by like cost, I've now invested. But that first time that I took that leap and I made that investment, it was scary. It was a lot of money, right? It was a lot of money. It was a lot of time. It was a lot of attention. It was new. It wasn't taught by a physio. There were all these things that people questioning me being like, do you really think that that's the right path to go? And my response was, I'm not finding what I need in my profession. So I got to look somewhere else. And that's kind of what I've done my entire profession, to be honest. This is why when I teach things, it comes from so many different lenses and scopes because I've done so much training outside of the scope of physical therapy, but brought it into the world of physical therapy while remaining in our scope. And that's why there's so much depth and layers and nuances to the things that I do when I treat. But this program ended up costing me in the end over $20,000 by the time it was the program, the travel, the accommodations, because we didn't have virtual stuff back then, you guys. And I don't regret it for a day, not even for a moment, because that program that investment, I knew it was time to go all in for me. That is what has led me to today. It literally was the turning point, the kickoff point, everything to today, to the mentor I have, to some of the amazing opportunities I have, to open the door to find the information and the knowledge and my research deep dives, all the things kicked off from that. And so if you're listening to this and we're on the concussion revolution and you're thinking about concussion nerds, know that it can absolutely shift. It can be your point if you want it to be. Now, I don't share that I've invested all this dollars in my education to brag. And I recognize that investing $20,000 into a program may not be something that you want to do. And P.S., that is not my program. That might not be something that you want to do. But you might be in this place where you're overwhelmed with the multiple facets of concussion care and you're uncertain about designing those individualized specific plans so that they actually work, that there's something missing in your skill set, like I shared, or maybe you're confused and you're frustrated and you just aren't exactly sure how to help your patients get back to living the life they lived. And you want to be more confident. You want to have the tools, the knowledge, the support, the guidance to be more confident. And then maybe also you're like me and your heart breaks every time you hear one of your concussion clients come into your clinic and sit in front of you and truly tell you how they've been gaslit into thinking they should be better by now. How they're feeling frustrated from their previous experiences with providers who may have done their best for sure, but because they didn't quite feel like they understood what was happening, and nor did they feel like they had the safety or the context or the ability to ask the questions to understand what was happening. And so your clients are swirling in their own emotions of anxiety, of anger, of fear, of uncertainty, because no one has been able to really take things that are happening in their bodies to explain them in a way to them that makes sense. Right? They don't know what to do. You might be clinician 2, you might be clinician 20. Heck, I've been clinician 40. Right? But they're also ready to take the next step. And so when you sit there and you listen to your client share their experiences, you feel something in your own gut ignite because you want to help them, because you know you can help them. And so truly, if this is sparking you, like, this is why I created the Concussion Nerds Program. So I always say the reason our masterclass is called the Concussion Revolution is because we are creating this amazing community of clinicians who truly want to help and change the narrative and the conversation around concussions. We need you, right? Let's look at the statistics in the United States. There's 3.8 million reported concussions a year. And I say reported because there's the thought that it's about 50% of concussions don't go unreported, because this statistic comes from emergency room visits. Newer statistics also show us that between 43 and 56% of people are still not back to their functional baselines 6 months after their injury. Now, the research is also telling us that we need people connecting with clinicians within 7 days after having a concussion. Because if we connect with someone within 7 days of after having a concussion, it's going to decrease your risk of persistent symptoms. It's going to give you the support you needed to implement activity sooner. And if at day 10 to 14, you're still experiencing vestibular and ocular motor symptoms, you need rehab, and those clients need you. Look at those numbers. Just sit back for a second. And let's just think of the need for clinicians to be in this space. Now, when I talk to concussion nerds who have come in through our program, and we have a past podcast, Brooke joined us like at the beginning when we launched this podcast, and she's an amazing nerd, does amazing things for her clients. Go back and check out that episode, truly. But when I talk to some of the nerds that have come through the program, I love to hear their feedback and kind of what brought them in. And what's been shared is that there have been other workshops that have been done in the past, but you leave that workshop with so much information in the concussion space. And I think all of us that teach in this space are so excited to share it with you. It's just finding the structure that best supports you. And so sometimes you leave those workshops and you are feeling more overwhelmed and confused than when you actually started, because there's so much information and there's no plan on how to integrate it and there's no support after. So you have like this heaps and heaps of information, but then you got to try and figure it out on your own. And that's tough, right? But ultimately, if you're here, you all probably want to learn exactly how to help your clients to improve them faster. But it's so much easier to do so when you learn and integrate when you're surrounded with others who feel the same way as you and who are doing the same thing as you, and when you have support. So, Concussion Nerds, so the Concussion Nerds podcast, obviously spanned off of the fact that my program is a 6-month clinical mentorship program for clinicians. So I know we have some super amazing people on their own healing journeys that listen to this podcast, and I thank you so much. And I hope that you get a ton of value out of it as well. This program is specifically for clinicians. And so if you are listening to this and you are thinking of one of your clinicians who might love it, please share it with them too. But it is a 6-month clinical mentorship program that will increase your confidence and fluency in integrative concussion rehabilitation, truly so you can make changes in your clients' lives sooner while loving it yourself and refinding the spark in yourself. So what is nerds? Like, what is everything you get when you are officially a concussion nerd? So I'm just going to list here, guys. Here we go. So this is the program. 12 self-paced modules that really take you deep into that understanding of each of the systems. So I'm talking about autonomics, vision, vestibular, the somatosensory system, the cervical system, all the systems. So they take you deep into those systems so that you can confidently create integrative multi-systems treatment plans of flow. Okay. You get one live business mentorship call a month. Whether it's your brick and mortar clinic or your online business, you'll learn how to create system strategies and workflows to integrate concussion clients into your practice. And this was an evolution of the program. We'll share that story for another time. You get 2 live clinical mentorship calls a month. So one call is a Q&A call, and then one call is a clinical case workshopping call where we pull out the whiteboard, we draw, we work through all the bits so that you can get your hard questions answered, and we work through those client cases. So again, helping you truly integrate the knowledge from book to practice. Okay, you get assessment templates. You get client handouts that you can take what you're learning and immediately move it into practice. You get comprehensive workbooks to help solidify and integrate everything you learn. Don't worry if it doesn't stick the first time. These are organized to make it easy for you to come back to and answer again and again. Now, I say workbooks, my friends, but you're legit getting 460 pages of beautiful neurophysiology assessment and treatment templates waiting for you. I wrote you a textbook. However, these broken into workbooks to correspond with each of your modules. So again, easy for you to implement. You get a private community of multidisciplinary clinicians to bounce ideas off of, learn to view cases from different lenses to deepen your understanding of your colleagues' scope of practice. So you truly get to understand holistic care and build your referral network. I cannot talk and share about how many times we get people that message asking, looking for nerds in their area. Right? I have referred to concussion nerds in Hawaii. I've worked collaboratively with concussion nerds in San Francisco. I refer to nerds over on the lower mainland. If you are in an area and someone reaches out to me and they are looking for a concussion nerd, you are the first person I'm going to reply to. And I just send them in your direction. Continuing on. Sorry, that's not all you get. So concussion nerds, obviously, we're about building your clinical mentorship piece. But when you talk to the nerds that have come through the program, you also learn that I'm very passionate about supporting you as a person as a whole. Because I believe that if you don't take care of you, then you don't have a cup to pour from to support your clients. And so we also have some things to factor in to support you. So the amazing community, obviously, we have one live monthly breathwork class by international breathwork coach Rachel, aka the Breath Nurse, that is exclusively for you. So you're going to learn how the power of breath can truly transform your own life and show up in the way you desire. You get immediate access to our guest knowledge vault where you'll learn from other experts in the world of concussion, physiology, and personal development to enrich your learning even more. There's some beautiful ones already waiting there for you. Oh my goodness. And then you have the Concussion Nerds Clinical Directory. So when you complete your program, not only when people reach out to me do I refer them to you, but when you complete the program, we are in the process of building our Nerds Directory, and you will be added to that directory so people can just search it and look you up yourself. Whew. Concussion Nerds is truly the only place to receive the unparalleled support in creating your confidence in this space. We are unlike any other program out there. And I say that not because that's what I believe. Well, it is what I believe at this point, but it's what the nerds tell me over and over again. So because you're already a nerd, let's go even deeper. Okay, let's look a little deeper about what is going to happen in these different modules. So you get a warm welcome, greeted by a warm welcome. The curriculum is a self-paced curriculum. So you can move through it as quickly or slowly as you want. Okay. Every video is short. It is designed for the clinician who's treating in the practice. The last thing I want you to do is come home and have to work and sit down and watch a 2-hour lecture of me. Not going to happen. Right? So the self-paced curriculum, you can easily move through it at your own pace. We have the live mentorship with our mentorship calls, as well as the community. I'm active in that community. And you have this beautiful nerds community of support as well. Okay, that is how the program is ultimately structured. And so in that core curriculum, what you're going to get is a beautiful warm introduction, which is going to talk to you about how to kind of break things down and how to support you in implementing the material. Then we're going to move into concussion pathophysiology. So you're going to learn about the concussion biz, but then also how we educate our clients to help them immediately settle any of their anxiety symptoms and that uncertainty that absolutely comes into play with acute concussion if it's new to them. Then we move into acute concussion. So you're going to get super clear on the phenotypes, the risks for prolonged recovery, how to assess and treat for the greatest and best outcomes in the acute concussion phase. Okay. Then we're going to introduce you to the integrative multi-systems approach, right? So you're going to be introduced to the framework of integrated rehab, how you can get to immediately feel more confident in what you're already doing in practice to then shift into more of what we do deeper in. Then we move into ultimately, I'm going to say more of how we support persistent, because when we're supporting persistent, we really need to have a deeper understanding of all these systems. Okay. So we're going to move into the autonomic nervous system. That's your first module. It's the foundation of everything, right? So you're going to discover how it's fundamental and how it impacts recovery. You're going to understand how you actually assess it and how you treat it and how you can specifically do so, but also support your clients in some global practices that will empower success in themselves. Okay. Then we're going to talk about the vestibular system. So we're going to understand the nuances of the vestibular system and how it interacts and integrates with the other systems. Again, you're going to learn how to assess it and treat it. The visual system, so much more than 2020. We're going to learn the influence of vision and how it can be a root driver in persistent symptoms. And you're going to become fluid in assessing, analyzing, and treating the visual system in an integrative way. Also, as well as when we absolutely refer to our colleagues and when that's important as well. Somatosensory system, this one is commonly not taught and it's forgotten a lot, but it is an oh so important system. It plays a big role in knowing where our body is in space and all those lovely things. Then we're going to move into the cervical spine because we cannot not look at the cervical spine. And then we're going to hit into affective and cognitive. So throughout the self-paced modules, you'll be able to digest the material while simultaneously integrating into your practice. This is not a program that you do the whole thing and then go practice. This is a program where you do a module, you start to put those things into clinical practice, you bring those questions into the office hours and into the community, and you learn and you integrate as you go. That is how we avoid overwhelm. That is how we start to put these bits and pieces into play so that you can just digest them and practice them. Each module has 4 components. Neurophysiology, where we really truly break down how things are supposed to work. And then we look at the research and what the research is showing us, how concussion impacts the system after injury, right? So neurophysiology, what is supposed to happen in detail, impact after concussion, and how does that domino into someone's life? Assessment, how do you assess that system and how do you treat it? So this is every module is built out this way. Okay. That is ultimately the Nerds program. Now, I keep saying that Nerds is so much more than a course. It's not just another course. It's more than that. When you listen to Brooke's podcast, she describes it as Concussion Nerds as its own world. And I said, the biggest consensus, whether you're someone who is brand new to the space and this is the first program you're considering, or you've done 4 programs and you're wondering if this should be program number 5, right? We know that when we become interested in an area, we always take more than one course in that or more than one program in that section. Like that's just a natural thing that we do when we're interested in something. Like I said, on my own journey of neurophysiology and concussion, I can't tell you how many different programs and courses I've taken to deepen my own knowledge and then apply it appropriately to my clinical practice, right? The consensus for what happens from the nerds that come through our program is that comparatively to many of the other programs, we go deeper. Okay. We really guide you to understand the concepts, assessment, and treatment at a more integrated level. And we support you in being able to truly apply that to your clinical practice, right? We also help you blend the science and the spirit of concussion rehab in a truly holistic approach that serves your clients, because recovering from concussion, especially when we're in that persistent stage, is so much more than just a physical journey, right? It is a 6-month clinical mentorship program that is truly designed to catapult your concussion skills and your confidence, and thus your clinical practice. So if you are someone who chooses and wants to lead in this space and be the go-to person in your community, this program will help you achieve that for sure. Okay, let us recap really quickly what you get when you officially become a concussion nerd and get to rock the super cool nerd glasses. Okay, 12 self-paced modules guiding you through the multi-systems integrated concussion rehab approach. 2 live clinical mentorship calls per month, so you get a total of 12 in your program, right? And then we sometimes add other ones in there. 1 live business mentorship call per month, a private community membership with other passionate multidisciplinary health professionals, tons of templates and handouts to put into your practice, comprehensive workbooks. We're talking about that 470 plus pages. You basically get a textbook, immediate access to the guest knowledge vault, plus any live calls that we have coming up with future guests. And we have some fun ones planned. 1 live monthly breathwork class by international breathwork coach, The Breath Nurse. You get a one-on-one onboarding call with me so that I can learn more about you and your goals and your passions and what you want to achieve in this space and help you chart that path. And then you get added to the Concussion Nerds referral directory, where truly even 1 referral can change the game for you. That, my friends, is the Concussion Nerds program. And I love it. I say that my mission is to evolve and elevate the conversation of culture of concussion in this world today. We are leading a revolution in doing so, but I can't do it alone, right? We need you, and our clients need you. And so if this interests you, or if you have more questions, you're piqued, we currently have our doors open with some amazing bonuses available as well. Click on the link below. If you have questions, send me a DM on Instagram at natasha.wilch. I would love to chat and connect with you. If you're truly ready to step into a new level of confidence in working with your concussion clients, I promise you, Concussion Nerds is the place for you. All right, my friends, have an amazing day, and I will talk to you soon. That's today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked what you heard, give us a like, give us a share, give us a tag on Instagram, and please never hesitate to reach out. We love communicating and connecting with you. Until next week, my friends, have a marvelous day.